NDC for. The records are there. Because when it comes to trust, MP supporters and Ghana for trusted MPP for more than NDC. Until any time we be able to NDC for winning. Now MPP for why he. These are the facts. Until so we NDC ni now pedom. Na ye mu bia ye wo influence. Who attack ye and one they lose. Between MPP and NDC from 1992, you can't yes. In terms of population,
yes.
Say any city.
The MPP has a total vote of 34.2 million. And in the NDC also have a combined total vote since 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2028 elections. 33,910,521.
Great.
The difference is 317,549.
Let's say, oh, combine MPP there.
Yes.
Any NDC.
Yes.
MPP sa two NDC.
Yes. And another first fact based on this sheet is that the MPP, based on presidential election results since 1992, is popular saying NDC.
Between MPP and NDC from 1992, you can't
yes.
In terms of population,
yes.
Say any city.
The MPP has a total vote of 34.2 million. And in the NDC also have a combined total vote since 92, 96, 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2028 elections. 33,910,521.
Great.
The difference is 317,549.
Let's say, oh, combine MPP there.
Yes.
Any NDC.
Yes.
MPP sa two NDC.
Yes. And another first fact based on this sheet is that the MPP, based on presidential election results since 1992, is popular saying NDC.
Yo, Bushan for Michio Bibia Obaso on fan chairman. Ja na ye app na ye use no my some stubborn we see but ya switch no mohodo ntine was quickly ni ye copy bi na ye to na ye de aha inti yenya to ne de mete se adwuma na no aye de asha se izanze mintimi meto entua ho ka na ya be mana na jantuah mo aba be didi na enra mimi ye madwen se enkofu wi mo no menya omo ho time but I was say sha asientem me fan chia sonko ema obi bia wo hwe me medamo ase ene ma hye me Ghana atade so on me che no GFE football people mina mti ono na ede ba asem ena ekoso ene minimu ba be di nkomo bi mo amohwe mo TV mo amohwe mo phone so ene ye be di nkomo bi san nkomo no ye be sha ase free time a kofo e be di ade some records bi e wo ho minianom ne adofo mo manin to na jantuah ene omo a omo tete saa no mo manin to omo se enye omo chobo ni choka na omo be no na manfo ti o mo pa on starting free ese ase free Adam so aba ya to nyina on calculate say NPP e di first omo di aba ne de bi omo di first what you see ma catch them say elections bia ne emu dynamics o pa kekema e wo mu nyina e bom na NPP ndi first mfo bia ho na wonim ne akwanity ne radio ne so a wo ye no etre wo say ade no enye enso ye ne ya say obema enkofofofro aba be fire aye ne yi omo hawo nyina no enkofo no nso a modi odo sonko ma wo mo se omo meye oman ne mam no omo ya bonfo omo ntimi nya dwuma no ne etie no hwe e sha se firi kofo so na wonim ono na jantuah betena ho a o ye papa kofo oh ye papa Kwadwo, oh ye papa Kwadwo. Se Ghana say ya, sana JJ nkwa na ya memu from 82. O take reigns of power. Na eba ya besi 92. 92. Na oka say yini democracy ho nkomo. Free that time over. Na me ameti hei. JJ amemu mu ne yawo me. Nana jantuah uye dinu. The same JJ kro na amemu mu ne yawo wo nsoso. JJ kind of education or the ma yenwa na oti obrey books at the beginning of every term. So when ye be dia minim baby a ko school Ghana ho. Na nye discriminatory say utie kras ntie mfa obukum rew there be. E ba ye so omu introduce JHS ne ade nyina no workshop no ana osisi no district capitals any oyiyi some basic school be and say some selected schools be a or de sa workshop ni ma wom no when twa akurase no enya enti se jeja memoni e so hwe ya be see the year 2000, that is the millennium no. Se jeja memona e so hwe from that time no be see 2000 no na ye fan se jeje or your born for karat and se na jeje abon a na nie mo kache se Kwadwo e ba beye bibi mu anwaso a ye hu bi da because me ma me hu e champon aban liman ma hu liman na memu ekufu ma hu na memu ma hu mi ankasa mi chocho mucho Ignatius kutu e champon ma hu na memu ma hu friend say buzia amemu nempo ankasa mababe hu ye nana ye papa unyansani Kwame Nkrumah amemu jeje die ni nyina ehu ye na the way ya ye nana no mtena Kumasi abonten so no a jantuah te ese ye no mu bi adwen efa jeje ho no so many times that ye ka se jeje ba Kumasi a you could hear from mpanyimfo a ne ani omote o kwase ampanyi we they were saying it to jeje. Maybe at the time na Facebook ni ho anke bia menim se na nko mbenya akukuduro akasa te se de ye kase ya or time and ye dia sayemu afa a particular political party ho and unim de ntia ye no yaba forefront na ye kasa no hwe ye kasa obi ye journalist a enye so oti nhyirafm o the modern day journalism no I am part and whosoever opens up his or her social media platform or de kasabiano or ye journalist. Inti ni obi or ye journalist in this contemporary world ni obi awako Institute of Journalism a wo ye nana Kwesi Ajiman empesiaso word dichem so honum no. The modern day journalism no from akoda or kasa internet ni so edi change bibi they draw attention, they create awareness. Will be hono or muninano could be classified as a contemporary journalist or journalist. Nana jantuah, yes, most sorry ya. As someone be catch ye and he say a baby ba or metwa a baby project so. Me who jeja memu and a friend say a champon memu me who lima memu. But me who JJ say JJ free akunyaso no a crack cars say yem farmer say teacher education, health, and all the ministries no ko for ne succeed JJ e de ne to sa cars no ko for be di ade na Sunya government hospital na JJC awie and na last night see dun ketie ka no ka say Ghana fo nyina nko buntwere empa kofo achew ansa no akwa akobie a friend is saying Sunya hospital unim number of project a kofo ba na Jerry John Rawlings ashase a obeja ma ne kan nwuram but unim the nkofo away from kofo time nyina nana jantuah omodi aye Ghana una o say when the politics ho na when the history ho say yi jeje na frimu na yesa akoyeti a o my Ghana problem na ye timu nne no eye nkofo na ye from NPP fo no no create problem ni nyina to ho who sorry a useless journalist no more better internet ne so na JJ buy no be good factories JJ de no good factories Kwame Nkrumah sisi factories no ye wo kofo te ho no be ka kire Ghana fo se Kwame Nkrumah anwea nkwa atiri enti osisi factories no esisi baabi rough enti mibusa wo a na woti wanti a Kwame Nkrumah de tomato factory eba ho de tobacco factory eba ho no Kwame Nkrumah anwen onim nyansa e na odi adwuma bre wo mpasua so kofo na be ka asa na kofo na wo kasa ono bae otimi dwen esi factory wanti kofo bae be dwa nanum se oba be revival Kwalugu tomato factory e wo the upper east region no 2008 2009 me share TV3 video na oma processed tomatoes na wi na omuntumi emfangu cans because 10 ni ho na afi tomatoes no air pro sa sorry state no jai adeni tum oba he no na factories na wo si jeje mu agunu no why couldn't Kofo also and revive those factories say jeje asampo no me even by me I quite remember 2002 not even 2000 before 2002 that time na me war I think na me was JSS was to say me offer admit na sleeper not once ye fa train every Kumasi at the Takrade because some offer bako enemy man me not that time or yet more honor because me was senior high school na ye for time me ankasa me so me fa train every Kumasi railway station ho at the call Takrade yanka bia nsem Kofo say overhead bridge na and say sa we na war between Asaf Market any edumuno ayem renti no ye oba bebu no aye enen Kofo interchange o say friends Asaf interchange so stupid thing is one cry you call it interchange any sad na esi ho no omu bu sad ni gum say omu ye honom na no e hwa na the western railway lines any day igu ye kodu to na Kofo no wo any skill be any leadership be a aden one fan revival ade no a e besti na me no kase railway system no e go completely just because enyuma na Kwame Nkrumah shase no omo a friend saying predecessors buzdi anom ne ade adwemponi nti omo ma nyoma ni nyina keka nwuram deje be egu. Do you know that at the time I need to Kwame Nkrumah no na Kwame Nkrumah ne factory obi ni ntem kura no na e need 6 years na why a business now what's your business plan for any business we at the time no kura na e say the short term a year odi be hu say bi ade a wo ye kura no e was economic viability. Say between that time no between 4 to 6 years and Nkrumah could not even live to see say adwuma na ɔhyehyɛ aseɛ no ɛdi 6 years ne 2 no saa nneɛma no nyinaa no mo nananom tena Kumasi shoe factory ne kura ansa na JJ ba bɛyɛ president ɛna mo hipugu JJ so ɛna mo de ɔtan sɛ yɛtiri mu fa nkɔfo bi ho saa ɔtan no ɛna yɛyɛtimi yɛyi yɛ ho afiri mu a yɛabɛyɛ free thinker nti woyɛ NPP ni na ɔba na ɔyɛ ade a ne yɛhwɛ woyɛ NDC ni woba na woyɛ ade a na yɛde ani yɛdɛ ni yɛhwɛ so at the end of the day no ɛnyɛ me nana nkwasi asɛm bi ɔkeka kyerɛ me ɛna me be based on their judge political party bi me penso no me hu sɛ JJ hwɛ I quite remember me na me nana ɛkɔ Burkina Faso na me kɔ akogya no enti na ɔkɔtotɔ nneɛma ne ade na yɛgyina Kumasi kejitia minua atɛkyɛ na esum hɔ nom no na ɔmo tɔn koko ne ade I quite remember me so ano ma adwe mu minim sɛ koko na yɛtɔn no hɔ nom no insect na nam hɔ no ɛyɛ nwansena enti me yie me nsa se na me de chi bi not knowing say ɛyɛ bi hɔ na otu ne ɔyɛ dɛ ɔbɔ me na so bi a me su no that day wɔ kejitia no afi na me nsa no ahona etititi day no na ɛwɔ sɛ nka me na n'agya me hɔ no ɔkɔ but because of that went me ankɔ ɛhɔ atɛkyɛ me kai one time na me nana de yɛkɔ yɛbusuafo ni bia na ɔmote wiamo ase that time no na ba ka ɛkɔ hɔ nom no ɛyɛ saa anwona petuo munim no Bedford na yɛkɔ secondary school yɛ friend bone shaker no ɛnu bi ni yɛde kɔ Kumasi to ɛnɛ a friend say ɛyi agona wiamo ase udu hɔ a ɛhɔ atɛkyɛ na ɔmo de saa you know atwedeɛ ne bɛhyɛ kaa ne ho na ɔmo abie kaa ne to na wɔforo hwɛ yɛn nyina yɛhu deɛ na kegye tia hɔ te o atɛkyɛ mu atɛkyɛ JJ ɛna yɛ eziye free saa atɛkyɛ ne mu yes ɛyɛ ne responsibility but wanka sɛ nkuofo wi mu no ɔmo keka nsɛmfo kyerɛ me nti no mɛma ɔmo akɔso a atena atɛkyɛ mu te sɛ deɛ mo nkwasi yakufo ado no a ontumi nya ɔman yie a wo na jantuah wontumi nka yakufo ado kaka kyerɛ Professor Mills ni ne kromofo sɛ because of sɛ ɔno ne nipa na ogyina for NPP mo anto aba na ama ne nti no ɛna ozi nani saa na JJ ka kyerɛ yɛ asantefo Kumasi wa na Kumasi fo saa na JJ ka kyerɛ mo sɛ 92 mo anto aba ama no Kumasi akwan a besi nne ɛyɛ a ɛnɛ me call Ghana mo NPP fo nso so askwa hɔ baabi ne ayi a mo se mayɛ asphaltic overlay no miswa ana me wa me com division na me hu sɛ na JJ e de Limex na ɔmo ayi center wo Bukom estate ɛna ɔyɛ major Kumasi town roads no ansa na ɔkɔfa I think sɛ Kasajano sɛ wanwan ɛde ne yɛ Sunyai Kumasi road senanka mo na mo ye press hu nipa na ye president at the time na JJ eye Kumasi Sunyai road no ka mo beka so na Sunyai kra no enye bonofo ne gu ho we mo be se sika enso so oye road no kofuo betena so kofuo obetena so ekwan a woyeye eye Kumasi a friend say from Mankranso to Tepa and as we speak ekwan nyina tutu ama Kofi Job egisu nyina mokofo ndie no betena Ghana Kumasi woyeye enya ade okosisi woyeye Ahensa Youth Center ti said na obi aba eye astrotef come the boys yes mo nkobo ball come the boys o yes wo mo nko no mo nkobo ball because ball na ye mamu Jesse ayi na kan ye a friend saying machopoku prempe o se me nkwasiafo we mu de yom hia nse wa momo party set inti e komo de Ashtown for so hwe baby a yakoye AstroTurf Abyss Park we eti se me nsem baby a wo se ye ho AstroTurf ne enye anka baby a wo se ye ho AstroTurf ene bi anka menim sasem honom no omo ye bi wo asem cluster of schools no omo ye bi ma omo mpo a ene baby ona akofo be na Kumasi ho Tima Gardens interchange bi e wo ho ena there also the sofo line no wantimi kura anye enu be 20% to say ena otimi eja hokoye because it was GOG funded project. Ye ba ya o kofo ena am yenya oil kofo onim kwan a Ghana fa so one Chachuchi Kata was a tiny guy, you know. Now all running GNPC as at the time from 1988 to one baby or koye or mupenyi, you know. The exploration work akwano a committee Ghana sika at the year ubaye udini kujina court catch and say where you crom for Chachuchi Kata abodjimu and akufo di free ye. Edebe bra and apia minka eboma Ghana. Edebe bra so we see Apino now they sponsor a terrorist group. Or the Nisika ye party dumana ne company guya yes jeje na egu apia minka what is a jeje gu ye papa kwabna da kon farms what bibisa boachi mattress na egu ye no won adwen bone ya na omo timensia ho ebo po se omo magana enkoso no eno ho faso na wodi usika as a businessman support a terrorist group company na ngu na be dey company no emu ebeye dey o company kogu mo bobo nipa kro no mo kwoti se aban adwuma mu mo antena Kumasi wanka se ye ntompabo bia ye ense mfiri Kumasi shoe factory ho na yes shoe factory asi ahensan atonsu ho no ye yesu wo kuro mu hwena no na enkofo nso abopo wo mensia abopo wo ahemfie se ye nto shoe ni nse no na ye Ghana na wo ha na se eye hwan na wo ha no na sade echi na se Kumasi shoe factory no egu a osijeje ne begu no na se ye production na so mo nto a ye tu ne betum fitite mo disturb the peace of Ghana besine abegina ha se na ye keka abato ni nyina abomu ha NPP edi first 2024 ye hwe omuni first nana jantuah ye hwe 2024 why ye hwe nana jantuah NPP any first why ye nyini beto ye no ye hu de Joma ha ma ye no Kumasi ho mon kire de kofo ye no Kumasi ho de bia ena Irojet project kofo ne shase kofo nkire yen parliamentary records ekire se okoji sika bi se ye fancy hospitals bi de bia no omo bedi tumi a omo titetiri ho ade no a aban a wote so ese sika ho aye nhwehwemu ede ahye technocrat nsa ama omo de the response na ba no omo betie no ma be ma a different view of it ne nipa no aye dedi afa ho a ono ba ya enam say wa destroy adinti no o implement ya no implement ya say no ofo ba ye enam a health insurance o ye health insurance thing na wantimi anye loss and protect health insurance no omo nya nyansa se nka omo di health insurance ne beba at 20 2000 omu free akunya no so no akofo baaye no e no be ye se onu na de saa de ne ba saa na akofo de be ye mu yenti chachuchi kata odi amomu nim kofo na mo hia ye no yenti chachuchi kata yenti no
It's just the name. And well, sir, you were making a point before, and I just interjected you, and I'm still interjecting now. And with the question, really, does Ghana have oil?
We do, and that has been proven not by Chachu Chikata, who is no geologist, who is no petroleum engineer, but by the technical work that has been done, as I was saying, by many brilliant, dedicated, hardworking Ghanaians who have qualified in these fields and who are still capable of exposing their capacity to whoever cares to ask them. In fact, when Kofi Kumsin at that press conference tried to challenge all this,
the press conference of
2001, September, which I held, which he was saying, no, there are no feasible. I said, forget Chachu Chikata. Go talk to those people who have the knowledge about the technical details, even beyond me. So I have no question about that. We started again producing oil from the Saltpond field in November 2000. A lot of people don't know that. And since then, oil production has actually continued in the Saltpond field, even though it was interrupted for a period because the new government somehow had some issues about the agreement that we signed and so on and so forth. And you remember this became another subject in itself. But we are producing oil from the Saltpond field. Limited amounts, but it's still there. In the tunnel fields, North and South Tunnel, we have the capacity to produce oil. But let me tell you one other important thing. Much of this debate that was instigated, for instance, when Kofi Kumsin's Chronicle started to write, in fact, had very little to do with GNPC's expenditures in relation to oil exploration. In fact, the issue that a lot of people don't realize was at the bottom of all that had to do with our import of crude oil from Nigeria for processing at the refinery for sale, the petroleum products. And that problem, the problem whereby GNPC has to import at a certain price, then we sell the petroleum products based on government-regulated prices.
At a loss.
Which are lower than the costs that are incurred. That problem is still with us today. In fact, soon after, Tema Oil Refinery also took over this function as a result of the government's decision that it should be taken over by Tema Oil Refinery. Tema Oil Refinery also started running into hundreds of billions of dollars, which today are in trillions. So when the scale of the problem has in fact increased. And the reason is simply because we did not learn the lessons from GNPC's experience. People started blaming Chachu Chikata instead of seeing the structural problem that we have when an organization is given the responsibility to undertake this important national task and yet does not have the resources and has to have as an ongoing cycle of, in effect, bottling up the costs that have gone into servicing the nation in relation to petroleum products. It's a major issue, and I really wish that someday perhaps people will have an in-depth appreciation of that problem, because that's the problem that Tema Oil Refinery have today. That's the problem which has led to bonds being floated in order to deal with their costs and so on and so forth. It's a real problem.
And sir, well, some oil was hit, yes, but never, it seems, in commercial quantities. Why?
North and South Tunnel fields have the capacity to produce commercially modest amounts of oil, 6,000 to 8,000 barrels a day, not a lot admittedly, but also very significantly, a considerable amount of natural gas, which can be used for power generation. For me, one of the saddest parts of my reflections today is the fact that we still have not completed that tunnel project and made available the gas resources that are richly available in the western region of Ghana, offshore, in order to give us electricity generated much cheaper than is being generated at Aboazi. In Aboazi, we're importing expensive crude oil to fire turbines which could operate at 1/3 the cost using natural gas. Why are we putting ourselves through that? And the gas resources are available to do that. And the plans and the projects to achieve that are there. We have a mining industry in Ghana that could benefit from such a major reduction in the cost of power that we could have access to from using our own gas. We have the opportunity also, using this gas development, to attract even further investment in our oil and gas production opportunities. It's, for me, a sad aspect of my sort of reflections that project seems to be somehow in midair.
Who knows? Well, maybe someday that may come. But within the same context about cheaper sources of energy, there is the West African Gas Pipeline project. Where does it come in? Would it really help?
The West African Gas Line project was indeed a project that we initiated. In fact, I can say that GNPC should be proud of the initiatives that we took in order to push NNPC in Nigeria, our counterpart, and then also, more importantly, to get Shell and Chevron together to combine with us. Those initiatives were taken very much from GNPC. In 1998, when we held our Oil and Gas Africa conference, at which all these companies were involved, we held a roundtable discussion, which was really the initiating point of that project. Now, unfortunately, I think that many things have happened since those days, which frankly take the project in a different direction from what I think represents the interests of Ghana. Because one, the kind of price of gas from Nigeria that we were talking about in those days is quite different from what is being talked about today.
Different means cheaper or what?
Much more expensive. We're talking of expensiveness by as much as 60 to 70% beyond what we had been negotiating in those days with especially Chevron. And for me, these are significant because if we're making, long-term commitments, 20 years commitments for companies that are willing to supply gas from Nigeria and so on, that cannot be at the expense of our own natural resource in Ghana. What we tried to do was, in fact, to marry the projects together to make sure that our own natural resources were developed and, in fact, became the initial source of supply and then got complemented by the imports. And we, in fact, also try to ensure that we also cooperated with Cote d'Ivoire, because right next to us on the border, on the western border, there are some gas resources which we also wanted to marry into the whole Tano project as one sort of integrated cross-border project, such that Ghana is never held to ransom, whether by Nigeria on the one hand or by Cote d'Ivoire, or indeed by the limited nature of our own gas resources. So the plan had always been to create the kind of regional infrastructure that makes us access both our neighbors' resources as well as our own. I'm not sure that that is still the kind of picture that we're seeing.
And from what we understand, GNPC, which is Ghana, has 16% shares in the West African Gas Pipeline project. Is that
that I hear has been taken away and it's been given to VRA. Now, again, the reality is that VRA does not have the expertise in this industry. That's just a fact. They are very good in terms of hydroelectricity and so on. But in relation to gas, VRA has no expertise. So that, in fact, is...
Unia, Mr. Maseda, and 9 minutes. Okay. So Uncle for betnasia, journalists ne boni dien na chatuchi kata. We are okay on, We are okay. Oh dear, just go to Google, Wikipedia. Obekwa kuhu ni records a ye wo Ghana sa GNPC honum no. Sa GNPC honum no. You go and you read it for yourself. What they me chantro abetna ho say ye the records and ye the document bay. Document bay. That time na Kofi Kumsin No, my yen say it's like Orunanka, Yemfan said that time, no, Manasia Zoremone, Samsina Nemo, or Muke Kansim, Hunu. And Kofu, we shall say the journalist, a year Jandam, and yen new. And yen ne. These are the modern day Atwahuma. When what did you need that Atwahuma? Sakwa Kuba, they are the modern day Atwahuma. Atwahuma was a journalist who concerned journalist nana oye in the colonial times no. And now bisi kwaku ba akomoso. Kofi Kumsin and then Martin says Kofi Benson. What do Kofi for no? Ube hani pa ongana ho. Yesi Kofi Benson bi and number bi say yen tribe baomianhwe. Na office Ghana for ye Jimmy. Na wo koto abeti e kra ye ma wo try hands and what wedi. Se wo koto abeti a efo a yesi nipa ne nkrama mpo na edi no. Wo koto abeti ru ane ma wo try aduane ne hwe. What do you try? Why? Ba kono ka asem try me nhwe no. Eno na mo amu gitum say wabebo akohwibra. Ana jantuah obeye bold no waji impuna na ewo wani ase na firi ho. No waka che Ghana for say mo nkoto abantia wo mo. Na mo koto abanso atia wo mo a indirectly no eye NDC ana beba na wo journalist no wagina enkrofo na emu ahye enkrofo ne bo say senya ye ka chem se mo nkoto abama asumesi no se asumesi ni ba anase nye se oba wo ada ye de ne besi so no a na ya hyase na ya fa book number 1 mahama nase yen kai no na se ni refi kura na o de ensem no a wo ka no yen fa book ni yen kai ehwa ne aba John Kwame Dramani Mahama a o kai se 2023 ukojina asesewafo no hye asesewafo no bose ubisi market ama omo inti afi no aba o wahye wadwuma ase on the 7th of January 2025 mema o remfi say asesewafo no. This is what we call journalism 101. And yes, mo betena radio so na mo rante say Facebook ne social media no something small. Hey, something small. Munye ni swadi hunu. Say Facebook no and social media platforms no something small. Anka kwesi tum on han ho say mun stream live so. A small space no be abetena ase no didi obi atem. Me, I am not above reproach. Mahama is not above reproach. Likewise, you jantuah, Kevin Taylor is not above reproach. Obi biana obetna haka Ghana asem no. So your bow, so ye bema, so ye penyu, so ye crow, so ye wine is not above reproach and censure. But the ye canoa, my adwin say mundim no kura but one person would be ye human say. Me can't say men criticize you, but entrono a mudi no egu nipa so ene adwen se no a mo say nipa adwen efa nkofobio mo nim se ne mo ye no mo koye sa pe a na mo ama one political party upper hand over the other no, so that na koye se a political party bi o hono mo dia ojimi a ye nka, but a political party bi ojimi a ye beka at the end day why na bebre nye Ghana na bebre in se Kwadwo eya ade na ye ntumi nka ntu ne mfiri ade so 2016 mo ka say na journalist mo kasa mo si ye ntu aban we mfiri so ene no Captain Smart kasa ontumi nka ntre ye say ye ntu ni aban we mfiri so because onim se okasa ye ntu aban we pe ɛyɛ ne tamfo no a ɛyɛ NDC neighbor into oka kudru baby a na nana jantuah ana Akufo-Addo abanye na wan na nne obeka ne nyina Akufo-Addo amemu nye Baomia economic management team na akosi sei na woka wemienu bom na Mahama no wa unim say wo jantuah woto unim say Mahama aye 2 million times better than Akufo-Addo ne nkofo no but adenti ana tu Mahama no kura no a oba oma mo kwan ma mo criticize ade na mo onu mumba na mo criticizing because ono the at least no mo criticize no a otie mo criticize Akufo-Addo say onyi finance minister enfi ofi mo Mahama ye president no Victoria Hama ekodi ni nkomo ni personal nkomo ena nipa bonifo bi di na no adi na no disem ebeto envidi internet ne so papa ne ti ya no se ewura ginanten na adwewe no wa yese wa fa de ne ginanten Akufo-Addo watimi ayi bibi saa Charles Bisi ujimi na ya fa no na dan kwahye Flagstaff House we ne bedi nkwasi asem a friend say akwai Richard enya ayi akwai odi man for call Australia no kra friend say Pius Ajide ni ya friend ni man position foforo Tama Victoria Hama ye make his comment wan ko wie sika o wan fa sika ankotom paase wan fa sika ankotom paase wan fa sika dollars ankosi ni dem Ote se Mahama ka se onfa na dwuma ne nto no ote se Mahama efa akwati kwan bi so e de ne san akɔhyɛ baabi e wa amamu ni mu efiri ho ote Victoria Hama kra enka bio e wa NDC amamu ni mu wo ye nipa bɔnefo munnim no kra no ana nana jantuah mo sometimes on ye betena ha se na mo hu yanimu nkitinkiti a it doesn't mean say mo mo anyinyini sin you I tell you what you say it doesn't mean say be a we secondary school no that time grana me we secondary school because me madam for baako pa one no na na wo Prempeh college na mo ye general arts mo nya dia mo ye no na mo hwem na mo nya dwuma no sa mo se mo pese Ghana ye yi a enye sa kind of journalism Kofi Kumse ni Kofi Benton mo type of journalism no atro so what the chachuchi kata e kan no nsem nim no 9 minutes no what the okeka e enam said na ye omo brain child ni no kofo ba ya ogya to onyina no atamels ene Mahama ba ye no ato abo gas no a 1980s eba besi 1998 ni 1999 na omo ti GMPC abien ho no eno na atamels ene Mahama buy no omuko bi ato abo gas because na omu nim se chatuchi kata ediga de sika aye nhwehwemu a omu hu se ye wo natural gas wo kofo ye de no hu se Ghana wo gas wo de bia no NPP beba aban mu no na NDC fo no omu aye nhwehwemu a baby a anka afi na ade na eba bewo na anka Ghana fo ehu no no mo afiri so na nkwasiafo we no ma bese no enye ne ne shaase o Kwame Nkrumah to foundation no a anka Ghana be take off no na nkwasiafo ne baaye because nkwasiafo no already go into deep their innate and I say the almost natural instincts are almost pe ahode into be red dwuma mu a na ode fom ahode odi wi abanyoma inti abanyoma na omo be fa no oman sika na omo be fa no ehu hia NPP sin say omo be build oman no ye tu Kwame Nkrumah fi ade so a I him for political party, National Liberation Council, a National Liberation Movement, a councillor, sa party ye ten wa him fee, mensia. Ajimai Prempe the second, one Bafwa Kutu, and a ball mutri who possess, or mube se Ghana, and any ene. Oh, sorry, I know my bet now, and anonymous ye politics. Nananum ye politics is also offer. And a tea political party be wo na munse munim say if ye haya na me wo fafa na £700 and ye the tea political party be into ofi say sankofo no ni opponent ne ya de pakro beka onka because ni wo fa eti party ni ofi ho nyeme na me kan wo no an kan na asem ma me ma 10 minutes bi na fetchere wadwen na yenhwe 0240258269 na jantuah munya de mo ye no 0240258269 0240258269 frame WhatsApp see 10 minutes per Mr. Oba now be ye bi tintintin bi a me you free so me 10 minutes per why Mr. Wa nto ba senia ye nyina ye be ye no ye yi no enya afi na wo be ma commentary me na me eye madwuma se me nkasa enti kasa ne so ma ye wie enti Mr. Oba senia emmemma ye da age ne nko no Mr. no aboa me and as I say platform na me use no na me ntua hoka say we na me use me tua hoka enti no ope ent yentimi nko afumu mfa ya ho odi nko ye adwuma na yensa mfa aduane ne mesi wo mamuni enti wo apese oboa no na wa beboa na matwa sa de nika hello udin ba bia kasa free
hello Brangoto
senior
Bram minute saying
ne ho ye patwa ye 1 minute my
okay the patch of person will share historical pattern be about MPP Nkrumah 60 after Nkrumah over to 69-72 now share during the man time and at present time before everything so we say they are only interest in personal acquisition of wealth some agitation woman Nkrumah about Ghana any monarchical system of rule Nkrumah objective to our republic that is exactly what they are doing.
That's it. Hello, didn't baby akasefri.
Hello.
Yeah, we didn't baby akasefri. Yeah.
Menyanko ekoteria na wakasi.
Ekoteria mi pacho kasa. 1 minute.
Yo, madam waso papa. Minja wechizida. I'm very proud of you. Much of time be about me na mtsa pontent mkano. Na kodo na ye dwuma kanu o generation obaye as papa kodo menja da mo be ko bia be kan wo bia mense da nyi show ase
Inshallah so that's it.
Yo, bye.
Minia ene da hono. What you say Inti Muslim no mo ye journalist mo nye adwuma no na ho nti. Yes, mo nye adwuma na ho nti. Number ni 0240258269. 0240258269. Nti wo pese subscription o tua ho kana obetimi adonate so dia fa sa number na so 0240258269. I think it's a network bia mo betena amamu so a obeba no no obiai abuild bibi obi abedi bibia to ho obehu an say omai dey omansan de abekwatire omde yakwatire kra hwe ya ntwi bio sese no obi ani ada ho ya ntwi bio WhatsApp number no scroll was 0240258269. Yes. Into 2024 no. Yes. Now may body late artists be, but platform any usual and say almost say they free so you say I think say they have a challenge, and so I wasn't starting with Jumano. Meaning I wouldn't be a free.
Hello.
Yeah, we didn't be a free.
Go to Lawrence make us free New Jersey.
No, New Jersey, Michelle will be a concern.
Okay. Go to I guy where Nana jantuah as a mind. I said more man I popular.
Yeah, be man I popular.
You know. What's that?
Yeah, be man I popular.
Yeah, because we obi you know. So I say anything in question as more can and then the word nipa mo chere no Ghana no. Oh, nyawo na be kwa kotena 18 years na say radio so aka chere obi say na baomia ebe ya de nti kotoma baomia. Obi anim ne ekọ. Na wo to na say oye adwuma o bank. Na kufu ado ni baomia be gu bank no na say wo ti fie ya. Na say jantuah de be ka chere say baomia competent kotoma baomia. Say na wo wadwene nya adwuma. And now your TSA, I New Jersey, I might be.
Mr. Running up my right. Mr. Running up my. Mr. Running up my. Yeah.
Yeah. Or export to Casco Ghana. And now one who are empty, you know, because we be empty me if I can't go. If you won't down to a young Rebecca will be said, I could follow and I said, Bobby, you know.
Yeah, that's me. Hello, didn't baby a free.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, nhyirafm and jantuah Kwadwo. In Mamba life in tem Mamba online in tem no mante duro na wokano. But 1 minute to 5 minutes here me ba out me ba online. And my wife buy no catch me say Ebiano metie stations here. Yeah, but Mahamechi and I ended MPP na aden. Na ade make a channel say one business be Ghana. One jumedi be Ghana. Sent it up business asem na. So was jumedi be potin be and business be Ghana. Ko be hu say metie NDC MPP who has more. You can win him para. Until do no mante near a course on the walking home, but near when you say, Medonity, Edia support with us in the mission.
That's it. Minia, nti yebe running up, yebe run. I can't 3 minutes now. Your program no. You know no very yet. A friend is saying, okay, yeah. Nti sene na ye kan chachuchi kata wenimu de Ghana journalist na enko hwehwe meka ho but opa man ka NPP enya de kitwa bi all the way na journalists na ye to 2020 elections na omo oh I Kwadwo buy na ho chaba but ye de bibia to nchen a free SHS ni de. How do you run a country with one policy? One policy and one free SHS. Yebusa asenso boache se o mantem ho na wo ye mpesua ne so no. Bonioma eye monumental 5 waye wo ho or the koye baya free SHS. Free SHS. Meanwhile, enkofo we mu no tete obi ye free education di amaye no there bi. Ghana fo ne omo abusuafo ne ba ye pe there bi omo ntiase. Koba ye chi no Kwame Nkrumah na ye twe na abo so say or ye free education di ama Ghana fo no a na ye say ya de bone kofo so wa anwen ho yi. Eno no na mo be fa mo se mo de dey. See ana omo yi o. Omo be ba abam amemu a na me se omo akopeke ade no a party no oteso no ye no de ye papa na o no omo de akose baby. And a typical example, and this is the reason dia kofo be di ade no or try ama ye book bi a ye friend no Animal Farm if free public schools no kofo time no afidie they don't all champions say and could ready the girls are not to blame. A friend say our husband has gone mad again. Things fall apart. Oh, the okonko wine and the ade. But one political book, and that's a one booker, a sepu yenum biadria, untumi emfa himpo dru meye anante dru no, any sa book no a friend no Animal Farm no, a purely political book. Enti Napoleon take over opia or say snowball essay snowball dini nyina chi wie no eye na oye bibi na ye successful a no aka cho say idea we say no enye snowball bia na de baaye eye me na me de baaye ba oye na say dia as o eye Napoleon eye snowball na dey eye enye nu bia udi o emission levy eba yekokan ya o say NDC for na ewo ho na NDC for no dey fan say omo time no na omo ye mrada ho no mo kra say omo de beba omo de bai una oje ba if you know say levy no ebe boa ma ye run oman no explain it to the people na nkofo no ntia no muntua because oman ye the taxes Mahama ye kasa obeba no o ma mekan say yintua tax or ban no the new taxes beba tax ni tua ni nye problem anka journalist no any aban no enam say aban no omo nim say omo gi tax ni kra omo mfa nya hwe ni ntino that is why ya omo ase twa omo ba be kasa na NDC kra de beba edu be si ya na jantuah any mo journalist na mo tete sa no we see mom prepare na mbeti pow e wo mo asomo and NPP na eto na ankasa ontimi oni communication team journalists na ye adwuma de ma wo. How do we run a country whereby journalists now akodi a political party bi achina omo support wo? Edu be see ya da for friend and then be san ehia bio makra mo bye bye.